I've been debating for a while on whether I should speak out on this subject or not. But now I feel like I just cannot stay silent about this anymore. And I feel like I need to speak out. This will cover a bit of sensitive topics, so don't watch if you are sensitive to said topics. Now, without any more further ado, I'm going to tell you what really inspired me to create Reviri, my first major project on Webtoon. Go follow, by the way. Anyway, this is a real story that happened to me while I was at the pool. June 17th, 2024. I was 15 years old, and I went in the afternoon while my dad was busy reading his electronic book, his Kindle, under the parasol. I was swimming out in the Olympic pool, minding my own business, and there were these three girls, one of them was Muslim, and they were I assume 2 or 3 years younger than me, who were yelling. One of them, the Muslim in particular, was yelling about a guy's butt. Well, a boy's, technically, because he was a minor for all I could assume. And so I told her, could you keep it down? Jeez. And then suddenly she gushed over me and started giggling about how, quote unquote, pretty I looked to her. And then she proceeded to ask for if I had an Instagram page, which I don't, by the way, which is what they usually do, which is what girls usually do to ask guys out, ask for their social media profiles, especially their Instagram. I assume just so I could show her body and her face or whatever. At that moment, I felt really uncomfortable because that was so out of context and I didn't know what to say. So I wanted to get out, and I did eventually get out, but I had to rush because she was about to reach me. And so I arrived to the entrance of the other pool that has quite some slides and all that. I waited and waited and waited for them to go to somewhere else, but they spotted me. And at that point, I felt extremely scared. Dad's parasol was right there. I could make a run for it. So I did. I felt really scared. Though I did admittedly run embarrassingly like those guys do in the cartoons with their hands out and screaming out. Admittedly, it was a mistake on my part to explain everything to Dad so frantically, so I can understand why he got angry. He was like, "Stop it. You're being stupid. Those girls didn't do anything to you." So naturally, I had to explain a bit more calmly. And then Dad understood me and asked me if I wanted to go home, to which I had agreed. I cried that night, to be honest. Well, I didn't cry, I just screamed into my pillow. At that point, I didn't want to date another girl ever again because I didn't want to feel uncomfortable. And I'll admit, at the time, I felt like I was better off not having a girlfriend in life anyway. The situation would not resurface until October of last year, 2025. I was doing pretty good in 11th grade, just starting off. But one day in oratory class at last period, we were doing a bit of talking about types of love and all. And when I explained my situation, I felt so bad. I cried right at that point because I felt like I wasn't going to meet another girl who would ever actually love me or respect me or treat me the way they should, because they're all just perverts who only care about their bodies. But I'm wrong. Of course I was wrong. I was just making a prediction. Well, my language teacher, who is very nice by the way, she felt bad for me, but she also congratulated me because she told me that it takes effort to open up on all of this. So she handed me the keys to the bathroom, and I went to the bathroom and washed my face, but that didn't stop me from feeling stressed that day. And so that's what got me the inspiration to draw a comic about it. If you've seen the first two artworks of Raptor having a talk with Haru in the old style, of course. That project was kind of tossed aside, but now I decided to bring it back. And I also wanted to make this vent because with this, I want to bring you guys an important life lesson. Superficial love is not love. It's abuse. If they make you uncomfortable, if they ask you for your social media profiles just so you can show them your intimate parts or your naked body or whatever, if they're there just so that they can see all of that, that's not love. They're making you uncomfortable. Then you cannot stay silent. You have to speak out. Or if you don't want it, like if you don't want to, that's fine. But like if you don't want to get in a relationship with someone who doesn't care, say no. But this doesn't mean that you should give up so easily. There's lots of good fish in the sea. All you have to do is keep trying. And if there's conflict, just like William James said, whenever you're in conflict with someone, there is one factor that can mark the difference between damaging your relationship and deepening it. That factor is attitude. Yeah, that's what I wanted to communicate with you guys. I taught you an important life lesson, and I feel happy. For once in my life, I felt like I taught a lesson to myself instead of having my parents or my speech therapist teach me one to me. For once in my life, I feel autonomous and proud of myself. I enjoy making that comic a lot. And you guys are the greatest supporters ever. Even if you're not on Webtoon, it feels so good to have support by my side. And it feels so good that you guys understand whatever troubles I have. You guys mean a lot to me, especially Gunny, Melanie, Jackie, and all my other friends, because you guys are awesome. Don't ever forget that. This is Mr. Tango, signing off.